Biochip RFID technology, the very idea of implanting even our pets with identifying microchip transponders was a concept that for years was approached very slowly. We wanted to make sure it's right for the animals and that the community is willing to accept this new technology, said Diane Alvato, director of the Nevada, California Animal Shelter. Now, however, such high tech tagging is on fast forward since people have grown accustomed by successful conditioning to what once was considered offensive technology. And that's the spirit because I could actually recall that show Law and Order, and I watched it here and there. It is one of the few shows I mean, put it like this: I know most of the I can watch TV and movies and whatnot. I used to watch Law and Order. I didn't get into all the different like different different series of it, because you got the criminal intent and all that. But I watched the original one, and I never forget it was an episode on there where they was actually speaking on the RFID chip. And they introduced it, and that's all subconsciously programming you. You get what I'm saying? Like that's, when you go into the history and this television, I can always recall a statement my father made. He said that TV is an idiot box. And I used to wonder why he saying that. But because he used to have, he had cable and had the big ass TV in his room. You know what I mean? Like, but he knew something more. And it is an idiot box. You get because basically an idiot would let the TV program you. You got people that let the TV actually raise their fucking kids. It was a show. It used to come on HBO called Dream On, and basically whenever dude was going through something emotional in life, he would think back because his parents, his father worked and his mother was a housewife. And so whenever she was busy, she just dropped him in front of the TV. So whenever time, like I said, something emotional would happen, he would think of some show that he actually watched as a kid or something pertaining to what he was going through, and like that was the whole concept of the show. That's the timing of the joke would be it might be something that he'd think of something from a show that correlate or might speak on. Like say for instance, he want to cuss out the bitch, but it wouldn't be him. It'd be an old cartoon or it'd be an old movie where he was silly dame or whatnot. Go check it out. My point is that he was basically programmed by the fucking TV. But if you ever go into the history of, I was just listening to one of the brothers yesterday. I was with one of the brothers at the camp, one of the tops in my camp, and he was saying how like sometimes if your spirit ain't on you to do a lot of research because everybody can't research. I didn't realize that it was a talent to somebody brought it to my attention. It's a blessing because we tend to take for granted a lot of different things. And I realize that now, and you got Jake and a lot of people when they win an award or, whatnot, they quick to say, "Oh yeah, praise and all thanks to God that allowed us to make this possible." But people don't really mean that. You know what I mean? Especially like the entertainers that get a global, a Golden Globe or Oscar or something. They just really are repeating what they seen other people that won that award do. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, because you gotta remember, man is prideful and arrogant. You know what I mean? One of the main reasons why we in our situation right now. You know what I mean? That I mean, yeah, because we went against the Most High. Being arrogant. You knew where our power was. We chose to go against him anyway. You know what I mean? But like I said, the episode of Law and Order, if you get an opportunity, go check it out because, like I said, and that's just a way of programming the people because that's a popular show. That got Dick Wolf. He got, what I mean, like that's on mainstream TV. Best believe how many minds that touched is subconsciously in there. That's just like the time they brought out the Iron Man movies, and then at that time when they bringing out the Iron Man movies, you got DARPA basically had the exoskeleton suit almost completed. I remember when they first started on it, and around the time they made that movie. That's why, if you ever recall when Obama made that statement and everybody laughed at him, but I can't stand that fucking Hamite fucking demon anyway. But he made a statement and everybody looked at him. I will give him this: he was way more suave and charismatic than fucking that fucking Edomite fucking Trump. but that just show you the different spirit. I mean, yeah, he ain't no Jake, but you know, what I mean, that melanin, you know what I'm saying? Like it's something to it. You know what I'm saying? Because you really make you wonder, Obama was way more. I mean, better. You know, he better, more elegant with his words and speaking. I mean, come on, you got to take the time to think about it. Like Donald Trump went to Ivy League schools and whatnot, and I'm sure Obama went to. I mean, I hear Obama was supposed to went to a really good school, but Obama came from money. You know, Obama come from some money, but it ain't out there like that. My point is, have you ever listened to the both of them speak? That's just like when you listen to Bush. People used to think Bush was an idiot. But have you ever really paid attention to Bush speak? He played the role of an idiot. He wasn't no fucking idiot. That's how as sneaky and conniving these motherfucking people is. Um, but I didn't mean to digress and go off the topic. I'm really trying to, I got caught up in the spirit a little bit. But my point of bringing all that up is like I said, if you ever just a chance, go check out that. Well, I was saying how Obama said, we have Iron Man, and people took it as a joke. But no, he was saying because they had completed them suits. I mean, like at the time when I was following the research, it was three major universities that had the contract with the government to try and be the first one to create the suit. Now, if one created one and the government, you got to remember, it's not they. I mean, majority is taxpayer money and money for you know what I mean. Like so that's why they be having all them that money and them black operations and shit. You know, they can afford to. People don't even think like that movie Sicario, like that shit possible. You know what I mean? Like government sold drugs to their own fucking people. You know what I mean? Like I mean, but can't tell them nothing. Salakia, continue. Didn't Freeway Ricky Ross tell y'all that? To fund some fucking war shit. Um, Such high tech tagging is on the fast forward since people have grown accustomed by successful conditioning to what once was considered offensive technology. For example, if people are now willing to have such devices injected into their pets, why would they not put them into their own bodies? Or to soften the blow just a little into the elderly or children to prevent wandering from home or kidnapping prison inmates and runaway teens? Because all that would be for the good of society as a whole. Once you have edged your way into accepting these logical implants, choices, it's no great leap to accept the fact that a non-removable implant will be terribly convenient and much safer for us than carrying around cars for our needs, economic help, passport travel, etc. Cars that could be lost or stolen. And when you take time to think about it, that's some bullshit. You know what I mean? That's how much slick and conniving Esau is, because Esau's a devil. You know what I mean? He'll tell you that, but that doesn't really benefit you. You know what I mean? Like for instance, you got people right now. We was just talking about it. That's the spirit. You got people that prefer to pay with cash because you had a lot of people that grew up around that recession. So that's why a lot of people don't. Well, especially like a lot of older people, they didn't. I mean, not just Jake. Even you had Edomites. They see what the government went through, so they rather had kept money in their mattress or hid it in they home. That's what a lot of you got older people that still do that right now to this day. But look at how Esau's phasing that shit out. You got places that they don't even want to accept cash. You get what I'm saying? Like real talk though. Like I mean, like come on, just like with that smart TV shit. You know what I mean? Like you had that analog signal for all them years, and then basically they took away the analog signal and devices where you could use analog signal, and now you got to have a digital, or otherwise you just out of the loop. Right now, I remember I literally watched over the years of how the payphones. I used to know where the different payphones was at in the city. Motherfuckers used to laughing because I went years without a phone, without a cell phone, and now literally I can't think of any fucking payphones. The ones that I knew that they held on to the last few years, the last cell phone, last payphone, public phones I remember was in this rapid station, public rapid transit station, and they just took them out at the beginning of this year. So at the end of the day, they're making you get a phone, and everybody like, well, that's great that they give you a government phone, but it's not because it's under their surveillance. If they admit it, people don't realize when Bush did that Patriot Act, that made your freedoms obsolete. You get what I'm saying? But like I said, I don't mean to digress. Like I said, but my point of bringing all that up is because, people thinking, oh, well, it's for convenience. No, it's for convenience so that Esau can monitor you and keep his kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Because this is for the benefit of his kingdom. Um, Continuing, biochip the size of a grain of rice For pets, the implanted chip is the size of a single grain of rice. It stores a number that identifies the pet's individual information, including the name of the pet as well as the name, address, and phone number of the pet owner, which can be accessed by computer via scan over the outside of the skin. The Novato, California American Slovakia Animal Shelter mentioned earlier was the first shelter in the country to use the biochip. One lady phoned the shelter to say she felt the implants were unnatural and weird, and there is no doubt about it. Injecting an animal with such a chip is a pretty unnatural thing to do. Veto said, but it's also unnatural, obscene, really, that about 15 million stray animals are destroyed in this country each year because their owners cannot be found. As of the writing of this manuscript, animal implants are no longer considered unnatural and weird. In fact, the system is in common usage worldwide, and the service is readily available to pet owners at many veterinarians and animal hospitals. In addition, animal chipping has evolved from being a mere suggestion to becoming a mandate in most urban areas where pets are adopted from a shelter or brought from a store. The transponder chip being implanted into most animals today are manufactured by four major companies: American Veterinary, NERCO, California, Infopec Corporation of Minnesota, Hughes Aircraft from Southern California, and Texas Instruments of Attleboro, Massachusetts. And that's kind of funny because I remember I used to have this calculator that was created by Texas Instruments. Originally, Destron IDI Corporation of Boulder, Colorado began the concept, but it now serves primarily as a research and development company for both Hughes and Texas Instruments through various joint ventures. RFID implants are we ready? Many more companies have now entered the RFID manufacturing field, and that's the main. And I can see that because think about it. It can't be just one company creating all these chips. It's billions of people on the planet. You know what I mean? So yeah, into the RFID manufacturing field, and biochip usage now has surpassed the personal pet stage and is being used in many different areas of farming, ranching. No need for iron fashion, branding irons, racing, and wildlife identification and monitoring. In conjunction with computer technology, RFID biochips are used to track and monitor the health histories, bloodlines, etc. of various farm animals, racehorses, breeding stock, prize breeding stock, and more. In the modern dairy business, good old Bessie can come into the barn, pass under a scanner, be ready to to be directed to her stall, and find her own specially prepared diet in place, just awaiting her arrival, all based upon her identification, combined with the computer stored information about what the handlers want her to eat, her health records, milk production, and other pertinent factors are all considered, and the optimum diet is assigned to her. Wildlife has been tagged and tracked manually, visually for many years, but now it is possible to track life as small as a honeybee by attaching an RFID to its back. Of course, this is a real stroke of genius, according to the ecolo- ecologist for monitoring all types of wildlife, especially the endangered species. I'm gonna skip all this stuff for some. Uh, I'm gonna continue to read it. According to Destron director Jim Sealer, implantable RFID biochips are even being used to track fish. In some fishery applications, salmon are injected with these biochips, then scanned and tracked as they pass through specially equipped dam sites to assure environmentalists that they are not being chewed up in the dam's power turbines. Sealer said. Following that, reports were coming out of Europe that poachers were being caught and fined because the biochip implants in the field led the authorities to the poacher. The implications of this announcement were staggering. It meant that the biochip no longer had to be scanned at a close distance of 3 to 12 inches. It would indicate that the technology has been developed and actually put into service that could scan for detection of biochips at great distances, possibly even by satellite. This is, in fact, the ultimate direction biotech technology was heading at the time. as surveillance and control of humans is of far more importance to the leaders of the New World Order than the tracking of animals. Biochips being manufactured now can send and receive data about location and personal information from anywhere in the world. Wow, didn't know that. Well, it makes sense though. They're gonna be able to track you. And this technology not only exists in biochips, but a similar technology exists within the digital devices in every person back pocket in the country. And they talking about the cell phones. Take for example your smartphone, or laptop, or any other portable convenience like electronic pads, notebooks, etc. If your phone was purchased within the last couple of years from any major carrier, it likely came with a pre-installed GPS that keeps constant tabs on your travels. And of course, that's handy when you need it for navigational purposes. What you may or may not know about this feature is that unless you go out of your way to turn the GPS in your phone off, it stays on perpetually otherwise. It attaches personal information to all other data share occurrences on your phone. Remember that picture you took of Aunt Susie at the barbecue last weekend? Remember when you uploaded that picture to Facebook and tagged all your friends in it? You left your GPS on in your phone at the moment the picture was taken, and now you, Aunt Susie, and all the others tagged the photographer show as present at that barbecue event last weekend. The address and map directions to that exact location are provided at no extra cost by the click of a mouse. Again, available to anyone with internet access. And that's deep because, like I said, when you go in, like I wanted to actually show the trailer for that movie Upgrade, but and I wanted to speak on it, but I didn't want to mess it up for brothers that didn't see it. But I just want to say this: at the end of the day, like what was being spoken of on this page is what actually was happening like when he was trying to go and when the main character of the movie was trying to basically figure out who killed his wife, he was going back looking at the scenes because even though it happened in real time and this was time afterwards when he's looking at the surveillance footage because everything was a surveillance state, he was able to actually see what's happening to him and his wife. And you know what I'm saying? So it's just deep. Available to anyone with internet access, just not Big Brother. Khan, not only did you unknowingly report the address where you were last weekend, but you reported the location of Aunt Susie and your friends. If you choose to leave your personal home address where your spouse or children live omitted from your personal information tab on your Facebook account to ensure privacy, you just negated that safety step by taking a picture of Billy and his high chair and posting it online. Forget, uh, Forgetting, of course, to disconnect your phone's camera from the ever-present GPS. Now, Billy can be tracked to his high chair map and directions to your home, included by anyone online, and it does not stop simply with your phone's camera. Whereas nobody may be referring to this cellular phone feature as a biochip implant. It essentially, it, it's essentially a chip you voluntarily carry with you everywhere, reporting everything that you do and everywhere you've been. God. And brothers know that to a certain extent, but I didn't know what he just said. You know what I mean? But yeah, God. So just imagine with the chip, and then you can at least break the cell phone. What I mean, somebody can steal the cell phone. You know what I mean? Once you got the chip, what you gonna do? You know what I mean? It ain't no way unless you gonna take your head. I mean, cut your head off. You got people with 4 or 5 chips in them. You know what I'm saying? If or when a mandatory government issued or world government issued implantable chip does become the new deal, the leap from your smartphone to a new chip in your hand will not be a long one. While there are at least 10,000 application ideas to explore when it comes to the chip's potential sealer assistance, Dustron is only concerned with animal identification and is not considering human application. There is no need to apply the technology to humans because the human fingerprint is unique enough to identify them. That sounds like some bullshit. All present manufacturers deny that they are considering any form of human implication. However, the latest info indicates to the contrary. But Tim Willard, managing editor of the World Future Society's bi-monthly magazine Futurist, said the technology behind such a human microchip is fairly uncomplicated and with a little refinement could be used in a variety of human applications. Conceivably, a number could be assigned at birth and go with a person throughout life. Emphasis added, kind of like the Social Security number. And I guess I'm gonna stop there and continue later on. So I'm gonna stop the lesson there. I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Archa, Kodash Barakatah. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and sincerity and risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Shalom to the elders, apostles that taught us this truth. And to the next time, Yahweh Ratazah, I'm able to get you another video. Shalom, shalom, and a ball, ball.